Now let us start coding this program. So, in order to make this work, we will have to code it in a way that makes the car move and turn. So in order to start this, we will click on code, and when you click on code, you will find the blocks over here, and you might have a couple of blocks over here as residuals from previous programs or as a default thing from Tinkercad. If there are any blocks over here, just drag them to the bin and they will be removed. Now we have different categories of blocks: output, input, notation, control, math, and variables. All you have to do is understand each and every block in order to understand how the Arduino works and how the projects in Tinkercad in general work. Now, let us go to variables, which is the most important part over here, and we are going to create variables. My first variable will be switch1, then switch2. So because I have 4 switches, switch3. So I have to create variables for all of them. Switch4. Okay, now let us start with set switch1 to. So what would be the value of switch1? Is it 0? Now we don't know that. How do we know that? We have to read it from the Arduino. So the Arduino switch1 is connected, as you can see over here. Switch1 is connected to pin 7. So we put it as an input and we tell the Arduino to read digital pin 7. Now we want to print this out in the serial monitor without a new line. So I'm gonna say switch1 equals. I'm gonna show you while we run it why I'm writing switch1 equal as text. Now I'm gonna print the actual value of the variable. How do I do this? I get the variable itself and put it here. So instead of typing text, I actually read the value and then put it. Now we have to put some sort of a delay. Okay, there we go. Now these steps that I made, I have to make them for all 4 switches. Let us see how. We have to repeat ourselves, but instead of switch 1, I'm gonna go for switch 2, and switch 2 is connected by 8. So input, read digital pin, and 8. Moving on, I will now go to the output, and then I will print serial monitor without, and then I will type in switch 2 equals, and then I will print again to the serial monitor, but then I'll get my variable. There we go. Let us move on. Let us just put some delay first. Okay, so now I have 2 switches. Let us move to the 3rd switch. And obviously it is connected to 9. So I'm gonna put it here. So if you change the connections, make sure that the right connections or the right pins are there. There we go. Switch 3 is equal. And then we put switch 3 and then some delay. Okay, so we have switch 1, switch 2, switch 3. Let us move to switch 4, which would be the last switch which is connected to digital pin 10. I'm gonna move this a bit up. Then print a serial monitor. Switch 4 as text. And then as a variable, you get switch 4 over here. There we go. Then you have to wait for 10 milliseconds. So now I have decided how I read my 4 variables or the values of my 4 variables, okay? And I will print this value in the digital monitor, but instead of printing them randomly without knowing which value goes to which switch, I will write them as text, and then I will assign this value next to the text that I written. So it would be switch 1 is equal to 0, switch 2 is equal to 0, switch 3 is equal to 1, switch 4 is equal to 0, for example. And you will see this in the serial monitor as we run the simulation. Okay. Now, moving on, let us put some if conditions. If conditions here are used in order to state that under certain conditions, I want some things to happen. For example, I'm going to take if then for math. I'll take this one and then I'll make it equal. My condition will be if switch 1 is equal to 1. That means if I click on switch 1, and switch 1 here is for forward. If I click on switch 1, you will set the pin to high. Which pins? Motors are connected through 4 and 3. Okay. So I have to set pin 3 to high and set pin 4 to high. What does that mean? If I click on switch 1, I will get the value of 1, and then both motors will move. That means that the car will move forward. Now we need to do this exact same thing for the rest of the switches. Let us do that. If then, and then math, and then equal again. If switch 2 is equal to 1, let us set the pins. Now, switch 2 is for moving left. Oh no, we don't want values, we want just high and low. High means it's working, low means it's not. So we have 2 pins, which are 3 and 4. These are the ones we're connected to. We are moving left, so you have to imagine the motor. If the motor is going to move left, that means 3 would be high, 4 would be low. If then math equals, again, variable, switch 3, which is moving to the right. So I think you figured it out. We'll have to do it like this, 3 and 4, and it would be the opposite. So this would be low, and this would be high. Now, for our last condition, I think it's pretty obvious. We'll put it as equal, switch 4, where the car completely stops. So if the car completely stops, I will set the pin 3 and 4 to what? To low, both of them. Low and low. So now, if I zoom out, you will have this program, which is a bit long, but it is repetitive and it's very easy to understand, okay? So that would be my program. And if I click on Start Simulation, okay, now if I click here, you can see that, let me just zoom in, the motors are moving. The motor is now moving to the left, right, because one of them only is moving, and then stop. Okay, now I want you to see the code using the serial monitor. So here, the reason I put the text as switch 1, see the values are assigned to the switches easier. So this is why we use without and with a new line. So you can easily see the value and you can assign it to the text. So you'll find it's very quick, but if you click on it, you will see that whenever you click on, for example, here is an example. When you click on the switch, you will find that the value changed. It is assigned to 1. And that would be the code part for this mission. I think it's very easy. I think you can understand it easily. And I think that it is actually very interesting because for day 1 in the winter camp, you already programmed a car. So it is something really nice to start with.